You know the verse, your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. For years, my temple looked like a crack house after a police raid. I quit drinking thinking that was the finish line, but it was just the starting line of a whole new war. The poison was gone, but I was left standing in the wreckage, a puffy, angry, miserable ghost of a man. Sobriety didn't fix me. It just took away my numbing agent and left me with the pain fully loaded. Everyone congratulates you for putting down the bottle. Nobody warns you about the deafening silence that comes after. The truth is, my life didn't begin when I quit drinking. It began when I stopped just not drinking and started building something new. This is how I did it. This is the body of evidence. For the first 90 days, I was a fraud. Sober, but white knuckle every second. The chaos of addiction was gone, replaced by the stark reality of my consequences. Court dates, debt, a miserable marriage, and a body that felt like it had been through a wood chipper. And the anger, my Lord, the anger. I was a powder keg. I'd snap at anyone over nothing. The smallest thing would set me off. I was a grown man with the emotional toolkit of a teenager. All these problems I drowned out for years were now standing at my door, demanding to be paid. I was about 90 days in, miserable, staring at myself in the mirror. I saw my gut, my puffy face, the shame. And this voice, this clear, sharp voice, cut through the noise in my head and said, "You have to stop this horrible downward progression." It wasn't a shout, it wasn't a command. I knew it was the truth. I couldn't just not drink. I had to actively, fiercely build something better. I had to become the architect of my own recovery. That was my real turning point. And I started with the one thing I could actually control, my physical body. My body was the most visible crime scene, so it was the first place I started to clean up. About 18 years ago, I weighed 254 pounds. That was a lot for me back then. The thought of walking into a gym terrified me. So I bought a workout program called P90X. My plan wasn't complicated. It was one simple rule: push play every single day. For 90 days, I went down into my basement. I wasn't just sweating out toxins. I was sweating out shame. I was sweating out regret. Every push-up was a fight against the man I used to be. It wasn't about getting ripped. It was about proving to myself I could finish something. By the end, I'd lost over 20 pounds, but the real victory wasn't on the scale. The real victory was feeling strong for the first time in a decade. It was the first solid proof that my cause was not lost. I paired this with a very good food plan. No more fueling the temple with garbage, lots of lean protein, vegetables, and gallons of water. I started sleeping like my life depended on it, because it did. Rebuilding your body is the most physical way to prove you're done with destroying it. It's the first brick in your new foundation. With my body back in the fight, I had to face the war in my mind. My brain was broken. Years of alcohol had fried the reward system and my ability to handle emotion. I did see a therapist for years. I'm not going to lie. I didn't agree with half of what we talked about, but it forced me to verbalize the chaos. If you can't afford it, it's a tool. Use it. But the real game changer for me was mindfulness. And before you tune this out and you think this is some kind of middle-aged Zen nonsense, this is tactical training for your brain. I learned to create a pause. When a wave of rage or a craving would hit, I learned to stop, breathe, and just watch it without getting swept away. I learned I am not my thoughts. I am the one who observes my thoughts. And that tiny space, that pause, is where your freedom lives. Mental clarity comes from daily habits: sleep, nutrition, exercise, repeat. It requires breaking the isolation. Talk to someone, find a group. Your brain cannot heal in a vacuum. Now, this next area is where people get very weird. When we start to talk about spiritual or spirituality, that doesn't have to mean religious. But for me, it was. It is. It is still today a personal relationship. I remember the moment it became real. I was in rehab, on my knees, by my bed, just begging, Jesus, just help me get through today. And then it happened. A physical sensation, a tingling from my neck down my spine, a warmth, a voice in my head. You're doing the right thing. I am with you. That was the moment the light switched on. That was the start of my real daily walk with Christ. But your path might be different. Your spiritual strength might come from serving others, from losing yourself in nature, from the connection you find in a recovery group. The point is this: addiction creates a void, a hole in your soul. You tried to fill it with alcohol, or in my case, I tried to fill it with alcohol. Lasting recovery means filling it with something that actually fits, with purpose, with meaning, with connection to something much bigger and greater than yourself. This is your why. This is the anchor that holds you steady in the storms. If you can remember these three pillars that I've just talked about: body, mind, and spirit, they aren't separate. They work together. Taking care of your body clears your mind. A clear mind opens your heart to spiritual truth. And a strong spirit gives you the why to keep fighting for your body and your mind. The man I was is gone. This body is no longer a monument to my destruction. It is my body of evidence, proof that with faith, with fight, and one brick at a time, you can build a life you don't need to escape from. You are the architect. Now, go start building.